Okay, so today we got a big video for you guys. If you're struggling on defense with pressure, I'm going to go through every single blitz that I believe you need to know out of the Dime 3-2 defense. Now, as you know, this defense started off the Madden season being the top competitive defense in the community with the right hash A gap. And then that later parlayed itself into loop blitz metas of all different types that actually I'm gonna be honest with you, one of the first ones out there to really be putting out the edge blitz and the cover 6 Willie loop metas. EA's patched a lot of stuff in this defense, but it has evolved and been very resilient over the entire year. So I wanna go through all the blitzes that I think you need to know to keep your opponent on their toes. If you guys don't mind, make sure that you guys are subscribed right here to the channel, hit that notification bell, and let's get after it. So starting off with our settings for this defense, we are going to be looping aggressively with our linebackers. For this, you're gonna wanna make sure that you guys prioritize players that I would argue need to be a little bit of a skinnier player model, good acceleration, good change of direction, good speed. All those things matter for this particular blitz style. So with this in mind, I am going to make sure that I have Ronnie Lott and Nakobe Dean in. You guys will go ahead and set up your defense however you like from there. All right, now with our coach settings, we are going to set base align on, autoflip off. Very important that you turn autoflip off because there's gonna be certain setups that we're gonna want to talk about here with this particular defense that are going to want the blitzer on the left or the right specifically. So you'll be flipping this defense on your own. The first defense we're gonna go over is the quarters loop. Now, bearing in mind that this is a match-based play, if you do not know the rules for match coverage, you guys need to go to my strategy website, gridirongameplans.gg. $9.95 a month unlocks the entire website. That's every offensive game plan, every defensive game plan, well over 160 and counting weekly updated vault tips that will keep you on top of the pro metas and their counters, members only Discord access, and lab sessions inside the Discord at no additional cost. If you guys struggle with the match rules, the match game plan will teach you everything you need to know about quarters, palms, cover 6, cover 9, against trips, against twins, against bunch, against tight, against 4 strong. You get the gist. So here's the setup for this blitz. What most players are going to do is they are going to crash the defensive line up. This is going to get a 2 gap assignment on the nose tackle. It basically helps him eat up double teams for the loop to work. Then they're going to QB contain. They are going to drag this linebacker across. They are going to user this linebacker over the left guard in this particular position. Very important that you guys pay attention to this because there's going to be another blitz here in a little bit that's going to play off of this. And when you snap the ball, you're going to see that this guy's going to loop around through the A gap and get straight to the quarterback. This blitz concept doesn't have to just be a cover 4. In fact, with this particular blitz, I would strongly urge you guys to start to play around with your coverage adjustments because this is such a simple setup that you guys can run. You guys will be able to spend most of your time making coverage adjustments that will allow you to maybe create a cover 3 cloud, or maybe you go ahead and create a cover 3 cloud the other direction. But you're going to be able to make these coverage adjustments to this and be able to switch stick with this defense. That is the key to this. You're going to notice that the best players out there are going to be switch sticking and allowing this defense to hopefully get loop pressure. Now, it's not always going to come in. No blitz is 100%, but I will tell you the magic kind of sauce to this is to make sure that your player is about 5 to 6 yards off the ball and you make sure that you have that 2 gap with the contains. If you guys do that effectively and you occupy, you will get your A gap loop like you see right here. And again, switch sticking from there is very, very simple. So that is our first blitz setup that you guys can run out of this defense. Now, let's get into the edge loop. This is going to be done out of your edge blitz 3. Now with this, if you want to make everything look the same, I would recommend running this as a left side edge loop. Now, the reason that I say that is that with this particular blitz style, if you guys are moving the player across the formation, you're going to want to kind of play some mind games with your opponent. So what I'm going to do here is make some coverage adjustments. I'm going to move this guy over and I'm just going to kind of mug right here. Now, again, keen eyes are going to know, oh, hey, the guy that you moved across is the guy that is the crossfire on the other blitz. Don't worry, we'll get to something here momentarily. But the cool thing about this blitz is that this is designed to basically get pressure around the left edge. And then of course you're going to be switch sticking around the defense all the same. So again, you can make your coverage adjustments with this. It's not just intended for this to always be a cover 4 shell, or you don't always change it to a cover 3 shell. You guys might take chances. You might individually man people up. There's going to be a lot of different things that you can do with this defense to kind of turn this into something that is a little bit more hybrid. But again, you're going to constantly be making coverage adjustments on the back end so that your opponent doesn't really know what's coming in. And you see that this loop blitz comes in quite effectively. So this is the edge loop. For what it's worth, you can run this off the other side as well. Pay attention to what types of formations your opponents are calling, who the extra blockers could potentially be, because again, it's not always going to work the same if players are bumping like you saw right there. We don't want the looper bumping into a route runner and getting thrown off his blitz line. So make sure you pay attention to those types of things. That is the edge loop meta. So we have a crossfire meta. We have an edge loop meta. Of course, there are going to be some other blitzes that are a little bit more effective that a lot of players in the community are starting to run. Now, what I'm going to recommend for this blitz style is you don't actually choose a play with a linebacker that is already blitzing. We're going to create our blitz angles by default. So I'm going to show this to you out of the cover 4 drop. Now, with this particular blitz style, what we're going to do is we are going to move Dean across, very similar to our crossfire loop that we did. But when we blitz him, you notice that he blitzes straight down into the B gap. Now, you remember the user positioning that we were talking about on the cross loop when we were over this player and hovering? With this particular blitz style, what a lot of pro players are doing is they are running directly into the left guard and then peeling back in coverage so that we get a 4-man loop. Now, why is this important? If you were to imagine having to guess between Nakobe Dean blitzing into the left B gap versus blitzing into the right A gap, this is going to create some issues for you. You'll also notice that from time to time, simply just blocking the running back doesn't always help, and this guy can come through and impact the throw because you still have to throw pretty quickly. Now, again, if you guys struggle with picking up these blitzes, I did a video just last week here on the channel that shows you how to block every blitz out of the 3-2, but this video is a little bit more focused on just getting the pressure. And with this particular pressure style, the cool thing about it is you guys have the ability to kind of do the same thing over on this side of the line. So as you can imagine here, if I run into this guard and peel back, you could do the exact same thing left or right. Now, that was with the right B gap, but can we crossfire loop out of this particular meta? Of course you can. So again, you would call quarters, but instead of dragging the player from the right all the way to the left, we're going to call it the other way with the blitzer on the left side of the screen, and we're going to drag him to the right. Again here, I'm going to drag lot across, crash up, QB contain. This is just a mirror version of this blitz. I'm going to come down here and pretend that this could either be the blitz that we just ran coming through the right gap, or this could be a cross loop. And you see right there that lot was coming in, kind of bumped into some players right there, but the blitz is effective. Again, you kind of just move this player across the defense. You can move your safeties down. We'll get to that momentarily. And then you come down here. And again, the whole design of this is just to occupy while this player comes in. You see the contains prevent us from breaking the pocket, and your opponent is going to have to throw the ball pretty quickly. So you've got a crossfire A gap to the left, crossfire A gap to the right, a left B gap, you got a right B gap. You're well on your way to being able to get to the quarterback in every single facet. And oh yeah, I forgot, of course, we have the edge loop that we had coming off the edge as well. A little bit redundant, but obviously we can attack every single spot on the offensive line out of this particular defense. Now, part of this that's going to make this a little bit easier on you is to use the old walkdown trick. If you don't know what the walkdown trick is, this is basically going to be you choose a play that you want to audible into, and you're going to throw that in your audible. So for the purpose of this, I'm going to throw maybe edge blitz in there for the, the around the end loop. Let's go ahead and throw the cover 4 drop in there for our little touch and peel back blitz. And I'm going to throw maybe the cover 4 palms where we drag the guy across for the cross loop here in this. And we're going to call the double safety walk down play. Now that play is called double safety go. Now with this, you want to make sure, again, you have your auto flip off, your baseline is on. Those are the adjustments for this. If you want to set your option defense conservative, that's up to you. You will not be pressing. You will not be making any defensive coverage adjustments in terms of pressing, backing up, showing blitz on this. You are simply calling this play and audibling into another play. So right here, what we're going to do is we're going to audible into cover 4 drop. You see that we're now in the cover 4 drop. I'm going to drag Dean across. I'm going to blitz him, and I'm going to come and stand right here. Now, the benefit of this is we just walk the safeties down into the seam. We can't hike throw streak to the tight end on the right. You know, I could move the safeties a little bit more if I wanted to. But again, with this, we're just going to eat up this block, peel back, and you see that we got ourselves a nice little blitz setup. So again, pretty simple stuff. And of course, you could go the other direction with this as well. I could go ahead and blitz Dean, move Lot down here, QB contain, and just try to eat up this blocker right here. So you get that B gap pressure. Again, it's mirrored. You could do this double safety walk down and then audible into cover 4 palms. Now, the reason you would do that is that you could drag Dean over, come down here, stand over the guard, make them maybe set up their protection incorrectly. And here comes the A gap loop with the double safety walk down. So you're able to basically fuse together every single blitz element here out of this. Maybe we run the cover 4 palms. Now with this, if you flip the play, you're going to be just fine. Your guys don't move back. Again, you drag them over here. Now, again, we're presenting that idea that this could be the right side B gap, but there's also a good chance that this is going to be a crossfire loop. Now right there, that got picked up, but it still sheds pretty quickly as well. So very, very easy to get pressure out of this defense. Now, of course, the other thing we didn't even really touch on with this is fusing in some of the slot blitz meta. Now, with the slot blitz meta, it's going to be a little bit tougher because you don't really want to blitz your slots from a non-pressed alignment. So if you guys decide to do the slot blitz meta, you probably are looking at DBs moving back or the safeties moving back. But this is especially useful when players know, you know, how to block the blitz. So a lot of times what you're going to notice with this is they're going to do the pickup from last week's video where we block the running back, we half slide away or to the right side. Well, that's going to make it so that slot corner that's in coverage on the left actually is somebody that we would probably prefer to bring in off the edge. So if we kind of think about it, if we're running cover 4 drop and I'm, you know, presenting the illusion of this blitz here, maybe we are blitzing. And our opponent knows how to block this blitz by blocking the running back and half sliding. Well, the extra blitzer off the left side could actually be pretty beneficial for you. So what you'll see here with this is now in this situation, we could still scream at them and then still be able to cover. Again, if I wanted to walk down into that guard to prevent them from picking that up, that would behoove me. But again, being able to mix in the slot pressures can also be beneficial as well. Now, there's one other thing I want to talk about at the tail end of this video. So if you made it this far, again, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel, hit that like button. One of the things a lot of players out there in the community are doing right now is they are turning this blitz into basically a 2-man or a 3-man pressure. So you'll notice that a lot of players are going to be dropping the defensive tackle into coverage, and some might even be bluff blitzing this defensive end on the right. And the reason that they do that is that if the running back runs a Texas route or whatever, that gets manned up. But you'll see here that with this literal 2-man rush, we're rushing the linebacker and the defensive end off that left edge. And then my user is just designed to kind of touch up this guard. You can actually get 2-man pressure and peel back into coverage. And now you have 9 players in coverage with this. Now, of course, this comes with the weakness being that you are going to be susceptible to the run. So don't run this every down. But obviously, this is something that can be really, really obnoxious if you mix it in effectively. And of course, you can go the other direction with it as well. So if I wanted to put Lot over here and I wanted to take this defensive tackle, put him into a hook curl to the left, and, you know, go ahead and just run this as a 3-man rush, that is totally fine as well. You just run into this guard, peel back, and look at this coverage. I mean, you've got literally a 3-man rush. I know at first you got to kind of rush your user, so it's 4, but once your opponent actually starts to look at the routes on the field, when you actually take a look at it, this is a really good zone blitz. I mean, this is 3 men, 8 in coverage. You got 4 deep, 4 under. Switch stick is viable on this as well, so I could switch stick up to the safeties or out to the corners or down in the flats to bait things. It's going to be really, really tough to live dealing with this type of pressure. So that is today's video, guys. I just showed you every single pro blitz that you need to be aware of out of the 3-2 defense. This is going to help you guys out if you don't have any pressure. I gave you literally just an entire defense for free here on the YouTube channel. If you guys want even more, make sure you guys go over to Gridiron, subscribe to the channel. I got so much more coming your way here on the channel the rest of the spring and into the summer. That I assure you, we're gonna unload the chamber here, and there's so much more coming on Gridiron as well, because you know if I'm dropping the fire here, there's even more on the website for you guys as well. We're gonna keep plugging away. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. We'll see you tomorrow. Until then, this is Zan. Get in the lab and good luck.